Gavin Williamson's future, I mean, some are quite surprised he's there now, under some question and someone already being tipped to replace him.
That's absolutely right. The results today may be very happy for many people opening their brown envelopes in schools across the country, but in reality, these grades have been devalued. Despite many children seeing great results, seeing 8s and 9s, seeing A's and A stars earlier this week, the reality is those grades are worth less because more children have them. And this is just the latest in a long string of scandals under this Education Secretary. And there's been much speculation that come the reshuffle, whenever it does finally materialise, Gavin Williamson could be out the door. And the one name that seems to be doing the rounds to replace him is a woman by the name of Kemi Badenoch.
What do we know about her?
Well, I went down to Westminster yesterday and I think we can show a little bit about her background and what she's been up to in the last few years. Kemi Badenoch is being tipped to replace Gavin Williamson as Education Secretary in a future reshuffle. But who is she? Well, first elected to the London Assembly and then elected to the UK Parliament in 2017, Kemi Badenoch became Exchequer Secretary to the Treasury and Equalities Minister under Boris Johnson's government in 2020. Before politics, she studied computer systems engineering at the University of Sussex and then law at Birkbeck in London. She went on to work in consultancy and finance. Well, in her political career, she has won plaudits from mainly the Conservative right over her uncompromising attitude against critical race theory being taught in schools. This is what she said just last year in the House of Commons.
Our curriculum does not need decolonising for the simple reason that it is not colonised. We should not apologise for the fact that British children primarily study the history of these islands. And it goes without saying that the recent fad to decolonise maths, decolonise engineering, decolonise the sciences that we have seen across our universities to make race the defining principle of what is studied is not just misguided, but actively opposed to the fundamental purpose of education. And I want to speak about a dangerous trend in race relations that has come far too close to home to my life, and it is the promotion of critical race theory, an ideology that sees my blackness as victimhood and their whiteness as oppression. I want to be absolutely clear, this government stands unequivocally against critical race theory. We do not want to see teachers teaching their white pupils about white privilege and inherited racial guilt. And let me be clear, any school which teaches these elements of critical race theory as fact, or which promotes partisan political views such as defunding the police without offering a balanced treatment of opposing views, is breaking the law.
Whilst that speech went down well amongst the Conservative right, it found less favour amongst Labour politicians and many journalists. Indeed, months later, Kemi Badenoch came under much criticism after a Twitter thread in which she criticised a young journalist from the Huffington Post, asking her questions about a vaccine video. Kemi Badenoch dismissed the questions and published them as creepy and bizarre. Now reports are circling that Kemi Badenoch is Boris Johnson's preferred candidate to replace Gavin Williamson as Education Secretary. This after 2 years of devalued grades and general schools chaos. Whether or not another minister could have done much better than Gavin Williamson in the circumstances of general COVID chaos, however, remains an open question.